I'm talking to Tracy and Mark, who are both in this, and we're going to be talking about throwing it all up and moving away, because Tracy and Mark, you were living on the Thames Valley and you decided to basically leave it all and go to the south of France and run Gites and drink wine and keep donkeys.
We did.
We did. So tell us a little bit about it. How did it all happen?
Well, we both work for a charity in Berkshire, and we've been coming to this area of France for about 4 or 5 years before, and really liked it, and thought we might like to live out here and run a Jeep business, because we didn't really have any other skills that would sort of transfer. And so we actually found a house that we thought was suitable in 2012, and we bought it. And then Tracy had a big bicycle accident, which was the catalyst, really. So we actually came out here in 2014 and finished the work ourselves on the Gites, and started in a small way in 2016.
I mean, interesting though is that we did, as you say, we bought the house in 2012 with the project in mind, and we employed a builder, and we thought that we could manage it without an architect because we knew what we wanted, and from England. And actually, in hindsight, that was a mistake.
Not having an architect wasn't a problem, because it was a fairly simple conversion, but not being on site was a mistake, I think.
And so actually, strangely, I had you hear about a life-changing experience in that I did have a big bicycle accident going from one meeting to another at work. I was chief executive of a charity, and suddenly, from having a very busy job, which I really enjoyed, suddenly, bang, I was unable to do anything and not able to work or do anything for at least the following year, because of the head injuries and facial injuries that I'd had. And so in that time, I was obviously then not even able to speak to the builder here. Mark at the time didn't have the French language skill to do so, or to write to him by email either.
No.
So we things here got left.
Timing became problematical, really.
And so when we did then come for a holiday and to check the progress, we saw that actually he'd done very little, or that we weren't very happy with some of the things he'd done. He'd done it at the very last minute, lazily, sloppily. And actually that was the catalyst, because I wasn't able to work anyway. Mark, in the intervening time, you had been made redundant. And actually seeing that the builder wasn't, we were paying but not getting what we wanted, actually, and I was not in a position to make many decisions. Mark just said, look, we just need to go now and take control of this. Let's change life. And what's interesting is, I don't know, because I very much liked my job as a chief executive. We had this project in mind. We bought this house, and I don't know though at what point I would have felt able to leave my job as a chief executive and let go, because I felt responsible. You were a chief executive for the employees, keeping them in work after the crises and the recession. So actually, at what point I would have let go and said, okay, let's go now, I'm not sure. But suddenly divine intervention stepped in, and I was off my bicycle,
or lack of bicycling skills,
or poor cycling skills. I don't know really, but either way, the decision got made, really. And then, as I say, in that time you were made redundant, and we just decided to get on with it now, although we had already had the plan.
So it was kind of fortuitous, really.
In a way, I think it made us do something sooner than we would perhaps have done it, and really, it's a very positive change. We really love it over here, so it's all worked out.
So
and it did allow us.
Tell me about your setup.
Well, we've got one big L-shaped house here. We live in one part of it, and the other part is actually 4 separate self-contained apartments, or Gites. So people can rent them normally by the night if they want, or by the week, or by the month. With the current coronavirus problems, we have kept it at a minimum of a week, so it makes it easier to be more comfortable with the cleaning requirements in between stays.
At the moment, while we get back into a rhythm like everyone else.
But I mean, from a fairly slow start in 2016 with 2 Gites, we finished the 3rd Gite over the following winter. So in 2017 we had 3, and last year we finished the 4th one on site. So we have 4 Gites, and we were fully booked really for the season this year, and until the coronavirus problem.
So that was a bit unexpected.
It was. So yes, having invested in this business, particularly the final Gite last year, we did a conversion from the garage to make a 4th Gite because we could see the first 3 were working.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a sensible plan, and I think it is a sensible plan. But yes, suddenly, unexpectedly, like everyone, we've been hit and affected by the coronavirus outbreak. Had lots of cancellations, but now,
I mean, we're luckier than a lot of people in the sort of the hospitality industry, because we've got to feed ourselves and cover the costs here, but we haven't got a team of staff to employ, so we can we can do that on fewer bookings, which is what we've got. So I think we'll be okay, and just have to see how it continues to develop.
Yeah, and at the same time, obviously, with your support, Andrew, building up the content business with our donkeys at the same time. So slightly.
Tell us all about the donkeys.
Well, this change, or this outbreak, which is very unfortunate to say the least, but what it's done is sort of made me particularly have to focus on, okay, well, if people aren't coming to the Gites, we have got, having rescued 3 donkeys, rehomed 3 other donkeys, some people like to come to walk with the donkeys. Let's refocus, spend the quiet time looking to refocus to see how we can work with the donkeys to see if there's another angle to people coming to the Gites. So it's not just coming to the bricks and mortar, which is very lovely here in the south of France, but also as a bit of an activity, really. If you like animals, this is definitely the place to come.
So tell me a little bit more about actually turning this business around, because I think a lot of people would be quite interested to find out, if they had a big dream like this,
in terms
how
of the
easy
Gites,
it would be. Did you find that people locally welcomed you?
Very welcoming.
It was easy to do.
I think we've been coming to the village for holidays for some years, and had got to know people here
since 2006. In fact, for some years.
And there aren't many there aren't many British tourists here, so I think they appreciated the fact that we liked the area, kept coming back, and made an effort to speak the language and sort of integrate. So they've been very helpful from the off, really. And in some ways also, we hadn't done this kind of thing before, so we didn't have any preconceptions, which I think was helpful. So in terms of actually setting the business up, we made a few mistakes, I'm sure, but we didn't have any fixed ideas about how we should do it. And I think also worked very well, hasn't it?
What has helped is obviously we did have been able to use skills that we had in our jobs in England as a chief executive, as a marketing director. Those were skills that we've just been able to use here. And what we found is certainly a lot of French Gite owners, it still feels quite old-fashioned, so people are expected to come from Saturday to Saturday. It seems very much at the convenience of the owner rather than the guest. And of course we arrived thinking, well, actually when we came on holiday from England, we would never want to travel on a Saturday in August because of the motorways just full of people. So we came thinking with no preconceptions, like you say, really, and thinking from our own points of view, that we always look for flexibility when we go on holiday ourselves. So I think we just have brought those skills with us. And we like people.
We quite like dealing with people, which I think is probably a prerequisite.
Because we did have friends and family saying, well, how are you going to cope with having people in your space? And we don't see it that way. We've always lived in our house. We built this. We've never lived in the Gites that we've got here. They're next door. When we lived in England, we had, we had a nice house, but we had neighbours very close to us. So we're used to having neighbours, and people are not here all the time. And on the whole, the people who come here they have similar interests to us. They like the nature, the countryside.
It's not sort of seaside, and it's not a party town, is it? So people come here to walk and cycle and just relax, go to markets.
So we usually meet really interesting people, and what's especially nice is that there's no expectation that those people are our friends or become our friends, and if they can come and go as they please. If they want to know information about the local area, we're here and we're happy to talk to them in either language. But what's been really nice is that actually just sometimes you do just come across people who are we become friends actually, and that's nice. And then they come back, and that's what's
Yeah.
been a nice thing, artists or
Well, I think increasingly
like-minded people.
we've had lots of bookings which are people returning, so that's helped.
Yeah.
As we get a sort of certain momentum.
So if people were thinking the UK, I could do this.
They could.
They could.
It's really not difficult, I don't think.
So what would your advice be to anyone thinking about throwing it all up, going to the south of France and setting up a Gites business?
Do it.